And we're live once again on another Tuesday. And today I have a special guest in the house, Rebecca Wilson, beaming all the way in from Scotland. Beam me aboard, Scotty. It's kind of cute. But anyways, I wanted to welcome Rebecca to the show today. And Rebecca, let's have you just give a quick rundown of who you are and what you do so that everybody knows you before we get stuck in and start chatting.
Yeah, fantastic. So first of all, thank you for having me. And this is my first ever LinkedIn Live, so I'm very excited to be in your capable hands. My name's Rebecca Wilson, and what do? I'm a business advisor. So I kind of empower people and businesses to be more efficient and effective. So I kind of help them set up to get the best out of what they've already got. So their data, their people, their profits. And kind of set them up for optimal running of a business today and kind of getting ahead of tomorrow is what I do in a relative nutshell.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And as we said before, it's always kind of hard to just like, what do I do? But that was a great summary. And you're relatively new to LinkedIn. How long have you been on LinkedIn now, Rebecca?
So I think, so I am a LinkedIn newbie. So I've had an account for many years, as many of us have. I have been active on LinkedIn for 6 months, and I looked at my data, and actually it's exactly 3 months since I posted my first ever video. It was the 17th of May that I posted my first ever video. So yes, I'm definitely still wearing the newbie badge.
But you have jumped in with both feet, and a lot of it is because of the mentoring of John Asperian. It's now mandatory that we must, mention John in every show because he's just absolutely amazing. And we all kind of radiate from John in the nice pool of LinkedIn by being one of his, fans.
Yes.
And I know you worked with John, and one of the things, I don't know if it came out from being with John, but one of the things that you just talked about video, and I love your videos. That's like one of the first things that I noticed about you is your book bites, your business book. Give me the right hashtag. What's the right hashtag?
Hashtag business book bites.
There we go.
It's again from John, right? The alliteration BBB.
It's fabulous. It's fabulous. So let's walk us through how that all came to be, because it's a fabulous series that you are doing.
So first of all, I love business books. So it wasn't hard for me to think I want to do some content around business books. And, having read John's book and having kind of followed him and several other experts, I knew that good content for me does two things, right? It answers a question, either a question you have or a question you don't know you have. It answers a relevant question and it initiates a conversation. So essentially I work backwards from that, right? What question do I want to answer or try to answer? And what conversations with whom would I like to have? And the question that I have often is, should I consider reading this book? So I was trying to answer that question with people, try to start a conversation with people who like business books, who are interested in the topics of the books. Of course, I pick books I'm interested in the topic. And that's where it started. And kind of the format came from, how do I judge a book? How do I decide if it's good, bad, or indifferent? And that's where the four, the learn, think, action, impact, which is the for anyone who's not seen my reviews, that's the structure I always use. So does it teach me something? What did I learn? Did I learn something new? Does it make me think about something differently? Does it kind of transform my thinking in some way, or connect new neurons in my brain? What actions did I take is really important for me. It's not just knowledge that actually does something. I can do something, and then of course impact. No learning is of any value unless it kind of has impact. So that's exactly how I structured my videos. It was essentially content that I would like to find.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect. And I actually, as one of your fans, I follow your hashtag. I watch every single one of your videos. I have been buying every book you recommend. So it's like I'm like a book junkie, and I love business books. I love novels. I love everything. It's like, for me, this is the hardest part about being a digital nomad is I tried to put my books
Yeah,
here
you
on
can't.
display. And I used to have the big bookshelves like you did, but when I started traveling,
Yeah,
I had to get rid
story.
of all my effects. My books, I drew the line. I could not get rid of my books. So I took a third, gave it away to charity. I tried to sell stuff. I couldn't sell it. So I just gave it away to friends. And then a third of my collection, mostly my business books and like kind of those novels you'd like to read over and
Yeah.
over again, all went into storage. And so I have about 20 boxes of books in storage for when I finally stop traveling around and I get cases again. There's where my books will be. But for now, all I have is a few hard copies, and I have very few hard copy books with me right now, and my Kindle. So that's the
Yeah.
Kindle
Yeah.
is in the background. Now the Kindle has hundreds of books. It has
Yeah.
so many books. So I miss my books. I love my books. But your book reviews are great because it makes me want to like read that book. So I just
Yeah.
go, and everyone you've recommended, if I don't have it, I've either bought it or it's now on my wish list. So it's great.
Good. Great. Then I'm answering the question that I'm intending to answer. Should I consider buying this book or should I consider reading this book? So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let us say if you have a suggestion for a business book that you like, that you
yes.
think you want to tell Rebecca, hey, you should review this one, pop it into the comments because we'd love to hear that. That would be so awesome. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
have to ask you, Rebecca, so you took on doing a fabulous topic, which was, business books and doing these reviews. I love that it's got a format. I love how you have a hook at the end of which book you're going to do next, because it
Yeah.
makes me want to come back and follow that hashtag and make sure that I catch the next one, because it's like, ooh, what's going to be next? It's so exciting. And I love that you do, sort of like your best-selling author books, the ones in the mainstream, but you're also doing not local, independent,
Yeah.
self-published books as well, many of which are our friends on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. So we've had, oh my gosh, you've done a number. So I think I already put it in the comments which ones you've done of people we know. Of course, John is one of them. And so question is, how did you start doing video? Have you always done video? Did you just learn video? Like, how did you take this on?
Yeah. So I'd read a lot or seen a lot that kind of video is the future, and video gives you an opportunity to do things that written content doesn't. Right? You get to see me, you get to hear my voice, and you get to see my mannerisms, and you get to know me faster. Right? So I knew I wanted to do video, but like many people, I was scared. Right? It's hard. It's hard to look at yourself on the screen, and suddenly you develop lots of ums and ahs. And I say one of them is So I say blah 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 blah, blah blah blah, So all of these things. But actually, it was Jules White that gave me the confidence to actually do it. So our good friend Jules White, who, for people who don't know, she's a fantastic lady. Look up her TED Talk, little tip. And she wrote a brilliant book called Live It, Love It, Sell It. She's a sales coach. And I had been introduced to her, or became aware of her through our good friend Craig Allen, and he'd recommended that I follow her or reach out to her. So I instantly bought her book. And yes, Craig, we love Craig. I know he's not available today, but I'm sure he'll be watching on replay. So I read her book and I finished her book. It was a Friday night. I closed the book. At the back, towards the back, it said I have a Facebook group. So I thought, I'll check that out on my phone. Just so happened the next week she was running a challenge. And it was a pitching competition challenge. And I thought, nah, what the hell? Let's jump in at the deep end. I don't know what I'm doing, but not even got anywhere close to my messaging, but let's just do it anyway. and you had to post or either do Facebook Lives or post videos and do pictures. And then there's a twist, which I won't ruin because I know she runs it every year. And anyway, so I got lots of lovely feedback in a safe space, and I actually ended up winning that competition. And I thought, well, if I can do it here, what's the worst that can happen? So, I got myself all set up, and, the rest is history, as they say. So, yes, it was, it's always people, right? It's always people that move you forward.
That's
eternally indebted to Jules for that, because it's transformed so many things.
And what did you use for your first video? Like, what did you use to create it?
So I did lots of, I am who I am. I did lots of research. I did lots of learning. So I used my camera phone, my smartphone. And I've got a very simple ring light. The window is there. So I use natural light mostly. And, that's it. I bought myself one of these, what do they call them? Lapel mics?
Lapel mics.
£25 on Amazon, and that's it. That's the extent of my equipment.
Awesome.
That's all you need, right? I know you help people every day with
easy peasy
video. Easy peasy, yep. Exactly.
Easy peasy. Exactly. You don't have to make a huge investment. It's like, just jump in. The water's fine. And I absolutely applaud you, because it's kind of like, if you have a big enough why, the how takes care of itself. So it's like, if you wanted to do this, you just jumped in, you did it, and look at the direction this has taken you. It's kind of like, we often we talked yesterday on Clubhouse about sliding doors, and it's so true that we take a step to go in a particular direction, not knowing where. It's like a leap of faith. You literally do that, and then you go, wow, now I got this whole idea. And so kind of, all those different things. If you hadn't read Jules's book, and then you went to the end and you saw she had a Facebook group, and you kept going. So, hey, authors, always good to put in how to make sure people, what's the next step if people want to be with you. So,
and it all, as you said, it all started from John, and I actually found John's book before I found John. Many people find, he's got a lot of followers on LinkedIn, and follow him if you're not already. He's amazing, lots of insight, lots of value. But it was actually, I found his book because it was recommended in another book. And it says in his book, connect with me. And I thought, a big shot author's not going to respond to me, but I'll connect anyway. And you did.
Awesome. What was the other book? Just because I'm nosy.
It was Sam Rathling, LinkedIn Bound, I think it's called. I'm sure I have it somewhere. But,
super. I've read that book. It's a good book. That's a good book.
And it references John's book, and so I bought John's book, etc.
It's nice how everything is all connected.
It's what you said, right? It's choosing to walk through doors, right? If you don't walk through,
absolutely,
you create no
absolutely.
Paths, so.
I see we have a couple of comments, so let me pull those up. Okay, so we have the fabulous Kevin Turner. Good to see you both. Gillian and Rebecca had Kevin Turner last week. I just absolutely love, and he's just such a great thing. By the way, Kevin, those flowers are a part of her brand. So just, he's the branding expert. And I asked Rebecca, I said, I love your flowers. And she says, that's always a part of her video, to put those flowers. So I think that's just a really awesome kind of.
That's my excuse anyway. I like flowers.
Wonderful.
I have to buy flowers.
That's a great excuse. That's a great excuse. Okay, so we have. Oh, I missed somebody at the top. Okay, it's the man of the hour. Hello. Hi, both. Great to see two of my favorite LinkedIn people in conversation with each other. Yay! And do you see the book, John? It's just awesome. One of my 2 books in my house. It's just great. Oh, we're so glad you're here. Okay, we have Mr. Jeff Young. Hooray, it's the Whitney and Wilson show.
Well done.
I love that. Greetings. Namaste. Awesome. Okay. Oh, this is the one we had before. Kevin Turner. Jeff, only 6 months. You come off like a real pro, Rebecca. It's absolutely true. And, there are people who have been, you're kind of getting to be a bit of an overnight sensation. But I think that truly, that's kind of a testament to John's book, because John
Oh,
says in his book,
yes, it is.
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
He didn't say this, but I say it. There is no Disneyland fast pass. It's like you have to do the work. You can't just show up on, you just can't show up and have a gazillion followers. But the thing is that you are a good student because you're a reader. Readers become leaders. And I think I read a quote once that said, not all readers become leaders, but all leaders are readers, meaning that to be a leader, you have to think, you have to learn. And, maybe you don't always learn by reading. I do. That's my method of choice. But you are a good student. So you took everything that you've learned from people like Jules and John, all these great books, and this is what's causing
you as well. Let's not miss you off the list.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't have a book.
Fantastic tips on video.
Yes. Thank you. Oh, love you, Gillian. Yay. Okay. I couldn't tell you like books. Just kidding. Look at all the books in your background shelf. Yes. It's great. It's great. Do you have more in your house? Or is that your, do you have more?
There's more downstairs. So this is, I'm in my home office, obviously. These are 90% of the businessy ones. There's a few more downstairs, and my partner has like a little half shelf to himself.
Yes. And I don't know if you're like me, but when I go into people's houses, not that you do that right now, nobody's done that for 2 years going into anybody's house, but
True.
It's like when I go to visit people for the first time, like maybe I'm going over for dinner or something, the first thing I do is I look at their bookshelf. If they have bookshelves in their living room or something like that, and I kind of like scan their shelf. And if I find at least one book that we have in common, I always kind of feel like, they're a kindred soul.
I completely agree with you, and I think that you build a relationship with the book, right? And it's delightful to talk about relationships, right? So having that as a common topic to talk about is just a great starting point, and it's a great conversation starter, if nothing else. So.
Absolutely. Rebecca, have you heard?
Here we go. A recommendation. Fantastic.
Recommendation. Rebecca, have you heard of a book called Ordinary Superpowers? The author is a friend from Columbus, Ohio, Mark Henson. So don't worry, these will all be on the live. They'll all be in the comments. You don't have to take notes now. Thank you, Jeff. And anybody else who has any recommendations, please pop them in, even if you're watching on the replay, because Rebecca will take all those great suggestions.
I will.
Maybe she'll shout people out. If you give a recommendation, maybe she'll mention you in the comments, which is kind of cool. Jules White absolutely is a superstar. I so agree. Great tips and advice. Thanks for sharing. Yay. Oh, so no. Great to see you both again. Yesterday on Fab 4, today on Gillian's Live. She's just awesome. She's just awesome. Supercharged all the way. We just love her. We just love her. Jules White rocks too. Huge Jules White fans in the house today. Oh my gosh. Love the flowers too. And the flowers are fantastic. It's so true. It's so true. So it's like the flowers are just like a wonderful part of your brand, because it's like, because I think, you see all the books and you it's so serious. Like you think, oh, those serious, like you're a lawyer, those lawyer poses where they're they're like the power pose, right? But the flowers kind of soften it up and, bring the outside in and all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of cool. So tell me more about your business. So you're doing the business books. How is reading leading you to be working in business and working with your clients? And I know you transitioned recently from corporate world to self-employed. So that's a big thing too. So kind of let's make the transition now and talk about how you've gone from reader to leader.
Yeah. So, I'm a big learner, and like you just said, learning from books is my favorite way to learn. And if there's one thing that I've learned about starting a business is you don't know what you don't know. and there's a whole sphere of things that you need to suddenly, you're the head of every department, right? So you're the head of marketing, you're the head of sales, you're the head of stuff going wrong in the background, and so I knew I needed to learn a hell of a lot, and so that's why I've kind of picked up lots of books. It's been under the category of I need to learn this, I need to figure this out, and I'm having a wonderful time, I'm not going to lie. It's absolutely brilliant working for yourself, because you get to choose what you learn, and you get to choose where you go and what you do. But specifically, in terms of I find that reading books are a really condensed way of learning quickly, right? I have a challenge of using 50 words when 5 will do, and books have already gone through that filter, so they can really quickly get you, as long as you think, as long as you take action, they can really drive impact. And that's how I decide which books to read, right? I've got a problem or an area that I don't understand, and I find a book, and it answers my problem, and I move forward. And like you say, it helps me with my clients too. As a business advisor, I very much focus on the kind of business management, organization, strategy side of the business, but no piece of the puzzle stands alone. So I often end up, having to understand, how are they doing their marketing, how are they doing their branding, which is not an area of expertise of mine. And so reading books helps me understand that, right? It helps me understand them better, and then I can do my job better. So certainly in my new line of work, it's been all about that, all about learning so I can do better.
That's good.
Very much, yeah.
That's good. And do you find that being a reader makes you a better writer?
Yeah, so I've an interesting journey with writing, actually, and I've always kind of struggled with writing, and I've recently discovered that 90% of that struggle is actually goes back to a label that was put on me at school. I wasn't very good at English at school. Well, I wasn't not very good, but it wasn't my strong point. And absolutely, I think I'm learning to write, and I have my own aspiration to write a business book one day. By 2024, that's my line in the sand that I'm looking to write my book by. So I need to get better at writing, and absolutely, I think that once I've made the decision to do that, I do look at what makes this book easy to read, and shorter sentences. It's true what they say. I don't know if you've read Anne Handley's book, Everybody Writes. And she talks about such a good book. She talks about sort of no one complains when you make things too easy to read. Too easy to understand. So I'm working on that. It's a journey, but I'm working on it. But absolutely, I definitely think reading. I also think doing makes you better at everything. Right? Trying. If you don't try, you definitely won't get better. There's no chance. So practicing more. I think that leads to better writing as well.
And by the way, after I read her book, I subscribe to her newsletter, and there's not a lot of newsletters I like. I'll be quite honest with you. There's very few. I do like John's. John's newsletter is great. He has a name for his Espresso.
Espresso, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
It's a great concept. But when I finished reading Anne Handley's book, I think I saw somewhere, sort of like what you did with Jules' book, I saw something in the back about her newsletter, and she said something like, I can't remember how she described it, was kind of like the best newsletter in the world, or something like that. And I went, well, I'm just going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
And it's actually really good. And I remember once one of her issues, she talked about her dog dying, and it was really sad. And I felt compelled to write her, because my dog had died during COVID too. And she wrote me back. I was just like, wow. I just thought that was so amazing. But she is, again, another really talented. Now, have you done her book as one of your book bites?
I have, yes. It was actually one of my most successful, if you count, maybe not most successful, most viewed,
Mm.
because she or her people, I think, picked it up, and so it kind of got spread everywhere, lots of reshares and everything else. So
Wow, that's
yeah,
fabulous. That's fabulous.
yeah.
So can we ask what your book might be about that's sort of like tumbling around in your
Yeah,
head, or
so
is it
it's
too
it's
soon?
it's it's nowhere near formed. It's nowhere near ready. But I know my working concept is assumption blindness. So it's
Oh,
about the assumptions. A lot of the work that I do with businesses is essentially identifying assumptions and that they've got about how their business runs, and reframing them. And it also, so that's kind of one part of the concept, and then the other part of the concept is the journey that I've been on. So as you become when you run your own business and you need to run your own brand, one of the things you need to do is personal branding, and to do that, you need to figure out who you are, and a lot of when you do that exercise, you then recognize I've had quite a lot of labels stuck on me that I wasn't aware that I had stuck on me, and a lot of assumptions that have come from, I shared I'm a bad writer, right?
mm,
I hadn't realized that was an assumption that I'd made. So that's the kind of area that I'm interested in. But I want to speak to people. I want to do research. I want to understand, why assumptions are good, because you need them, right? In business, we make assumptions about
yeah.
where we're going to land at the end of the year, but also why they're bad, and kind of when people. Does it depend on who says it? Does it depend on how long ago it was an assumption? What makes an absolute truth versus an assumption? So that's the area. Like I say,
It's
you can
fabulous.
tell I've not done the hook or the the
It
outline
all
or anything, but
I think
it's
it
a
all
nugget.
starts
It's a nugget. It's a
yeah,
seed.
it just
It's a
starts
seed.
with an idea, and
Yeah,
I
that's the
think
thing.
assumptions are, tied in with our our
Yeah,
self-limiting beliefs,
absolutely. All of
and
that kind of stuff.
I'm amazed when I started getting started with, helping people with video coaching. I thought everybody needed help with the tech because I'm kind of a tech geek. I've always, I know so
Google
many different
Goddess.
tools. Yeah, the Google Goddess. I know how to figure out anything, and then I teach myself, and then I go, oh, I can show this to someone else. So that was always my assumption. And then I found out it wasn't the
No,
tech. Of course, people need help with the tech, but it's the assumptions about
I
I'm
can't.
not I'm not the kind of person that can do video. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera like you are. And
Yes.
it's like, I'm not uncomfortable in front of a
Yeah,
camera.
nobody is.
Nobody is. And yet we have this assumption that it's just us, that
Yeah,
we're the ones that struggle, that everyone else, I liken it to everybody else got the instruction manual for life. And you're
and I
sitting here just going,
skip that day of school. Yeah,
what did I
no.
miss? I don't know how to do all this stuff. And we assume everyone else knows how to write and do videos and, get on the phone and sell their services and this and that. And when we work from that sort of paradigm, it means that, you're almost stumbling yourself before you even started walking.
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
that's really important, especially for people who are new entrepreneurs. You're just starting to go, and quite frankly, there's a lot to being an entrepreneur in terms of, the work processes. And I know you and I are both big fans of Notion because I saw you
Yes,
did a post about that recently, and I
I love
absolutely love
that.
it
I love that.
because
Yeah.
it's just one more tool to keep us organized, and being organized is a huge part of
It's
being.
90% of the problem, isn't it?
It is, and I always tell people if you're not organized before start working with people, once you start working with people, you're gonna just be freaking out, that's the hard part. So, all these assumptions, which is, sort of one of the ideas for your book, that is something I think that will be a bestseller.
Yeah.
I'll do the
Well,
video on you.
you've put yourself on the list of people I'm going to interview, as I'm going through the process. Um, um, yeah, so I have I like to do things that are I call them too hard, right? I've no idea how to write a book. I have no idea where even to start. So let's do it anyway.
That's super.
So I need
That's
to
super.
learn. I mean, there's a lot of learning I need to do before I start, but I'll get there. I'll get there.
And case studies are good because I know I think
Yeah.
I'm just finishing. I'm going to say the book wrong. Cumulative Advantage by Mark
Yes. Oh,
Schaefer.
that is
So
such.
I read Known because you said to read
I
Known.
told
So
you
I read
that.
so then I just got finished with that, and you threw up Cumulative Advantage. So I was like,
Yeah,
well,
so
all
good.
right, I'll
And
read that.
I'm now reading Marketing Rebellion.
Okay.
Mark, bless him, we got in contact after he saw my review, and he said, you need to read this book and do a review on it. And I was like, okay. When a big star like that tells you to do that, I'm like, okay, yes, yep.
Yep. Well, and I know he's John Esperian's mentor,
Yeah,
John,
absolutely.
and John, like Mark refers to John in his book. So and John refers to Mark in his book.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's like they're all tied together. But I know that by reading Mark Schaefer's books and seeing all those case studies, I
Yeah.
really applaud authors that have case studies, because when you do that, we can see ourselves in the book as the
Yes.
reader. So we can go, oh, okay, if this person could go from here to here, maybe I can too. So it
Absolutely.
encourages us. So that's just yay.
And
Do that.
I like books that are well researched from a experience point of view or a research point of view, but also are again, it's back to the relationship, right? It needs to have real people, real stories, real when you form a relationship with the book, it needs to. Everyone just wants to talk about people, right? That's how the world goes round.
Absolutely.
So, I absolutely intend to have that in my book too. It's on the must-have list when I get there. So.
Okay, so I see that we have a few more comments, so let's bring those in. Okay, techie question: is your live stream available only to people who registered for the LinkedIn events? No, this isn't a LinkedIn event. This is just a standard post, so anybody can see this. I don't do them as LinkedIn events. So good question, John. Good question. Okay, so Jeff is answering. This is good advice. Your recommendations are pure
Neda
gold.
is my sister-in-law. She's in Spain. Hello, Neda.
Isn't this fun that you can? I love, here I am in Las Vegas, and there you are. You're in Stirling, Scotland, correct?
Very close to Stirling. Yeah, that's fine. I'm in the middle of countryside, but yes, Stirling is my nearest.
Is that where like Braveheart, like
it is? Yes,
William Wallace and all that?
Stirling Bridge and all that. Well, that wasn't in the film, but yes, I'm in Braveheart country.
Braveheart country. Oh, huckle. With you there, Gillian,
no.
It can be dangerous to make assumptions as you miss so many opportunities. Love this conversation. Are you connected? You guys need to connect.
We
Linda's
are.
great.
Right, fellow blue t-shirt wearers.
That's great. That's great. When you are learning anything, it's better to get 2 cents worth from others than spend your own 20 cents pair of dimes.
Yes. Love that.
Of course, you don't have dimes in Scotland.
I understand the reference, though.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay. All right. So there we go. I'll hide that. All right. So we're at the bottom of the half hour. I can't say top of the hour because I only go for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
you understand what I mean. So do you have any parting words of wisdom you'd like to leave us with today, Rebecca?
The only thing that I would say is, try. So, I've alongside my intentions of answering the question and kind of starting conversations, I've gained so much from doing my business book reviews. You could have a whole hour talking about it. And if I hadn't have tried, if I hadn't have taken that leap, if I hadn't have thought, well, why can't I do this? If you're sitting there worried about video, get in contact with Gillian. She will sort out your worries or your tech questions, and really, it's really transformed my business, not only from a content perspective, but I do Zoom calls from this set as well, and I find that when I get on the phone with people kind of think that they know me, right? They recognize me, they recognize my set. So it's do video. I really, really, really highly recommend it. It's been a game changer for me. So, and follow my hashtag, business book bites. So fantastic. No, but thank you, Gillian. I've had can't believe that's half an hour gone already. A fantastic time.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And you were stellar on your first LinkedIn Live. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. And, the one thing that I would like to just commend you on so much is not only are you producing good quality videos that are valuable for the viewer, I just admire your consistency. They look the same. You have your hashtag. They come out every week. It's like you've got a system going, and that's so important. If you're going to do video, it's like knock off all those like little check boxes to make sure if you do it right. You're doing it with captions. You've got the books showing up. It's just like, really, I wish I could take credit, and I can't, but you are just like a stellar example of somebody who has jumped into video with both feet, and you're just absolutely rocking it. So commend you. Awesome job. Awesome job.
Thank you, Gillian.
All right. So let's say goodbye, and we'll see you guys all next week. And thank you, everybody who showed up today and added into the comments. We really appreciate you being here. And thank you so much, Rebecca, for being on the show. Just
thank you for having me.
Honored to have you here as a guest. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.